Hi, my name is Rachel McLeod, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker and emotional wellness coach. And I want to talk with you today because I want to talk about how to avoid this problem, which is doing a lot of mental health work and getting little results. And I just thought this was an important one because I'm handing you tons of tools. Try them out, interventions. I'm giving free intervention trainings in my Facebook group, and I know many of you are trying those out. And you might be getting to this point, and I want to help you move along in the process. And I also want to really set this up for people who are frustrated because you're doing the meditations, you're doing the yoga, maybe you're using EFT, emotional freedom techniques, or tapping. Maybe you've got the Calm app and you're working it and you're like, I'm doing all this work and I'm still anxious, I'm still having panic attacks, I'm still having flashbacks, I'm still so depressed, I'm barely getting out of bed in the morning. Maybe you're not getting out of bed in the morning. And really, I want to show you today how to avoid the problem of doing a lot of work and how to get out of that and getting little results and how to get out of that. We want lots of results. We want to help you build wellness. We want to help you get rid of symptoms and build vibrant wellness that's coming from within you, right? And right now, we know when we have symptoms of anxiety, depression, or traumatic stress. Number one, wellness is not coming from within, okay? It's scary in there. It's not safe in there. We can start going down rabbit holes if we spend too much time in there. And a lot of times we will need to get wellness support from the outside. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. We'll do that in the form of medication, friendships, relationships, in so many different ways, providers, support, family. But ultimately we want to bring that into you so that it's coming out. That's really where we want to be. And so let's talk about this. And I'm going to talk about this from the perspective that you've been watching some other videos. So if you are getting on this one and you don't know that I'm going to tell you to about using interventions, this is really going to be a little bit more of an advanced conversation. And we're going to talk about interventions and how to use them and what you need to pick up. Okay, so you know that if and brief, we'll go brief here. The inter I have a process for helping people move my train. My train is stopping by. Um, I have a process of helping people move their anxiety, depression, and or because people sometimes have more than just one disorder, trauma disorder into remission. And that means that by the time they're done with using these steps, they no longer meet criteria for their disorder, that the disorder that they had. Okay. And so that's a big project. And I like that comprehensive outlook because I feel like if you're going to come to my office and invest your time and energy with me, you're going to leave with what you came for, which is wellness and wellness that's coming from within. And so that's really what my focus is on and what I help people do and what I've been doing for a while now, very successfully. And when I first started, I had these tools and I was just going at things and I was doing a lot of work and not getting results. And all of a sudden I was getting results, but not end disorder results. And I was just like, what's up? We're going to be at this forever. And so I really just had to take a moment and how am I going to, what's next? And that's really what I want to talk with you about today. What's next? So if you've watched my trainings on emotional freedom techniques, thought-filled therapy, there's a video on that, which is a intervention called collarbone breathing. It's my favorite trauma processing intervention. I give a training on that in the Facebook group. And I also gave a training on an alternative use of EMDR that's usually good for everybody. EMDR processing is not great for everybody to use right off the bat. And when I train people how to use that, they have the other skills built first. I walk them through a process of building skills, and then I hand over the interventions in the beginning that I know are safe and that they can really do a lot of work with. And then afterwards, when they have these skills, then it's like, well, let's pull out some of these not so safe interventions and give them a go. Because EMDR has some pretty nasty side effects if it's not the right fit for you. I have a video on that. Feel free to look that up. Okay, so in those trainings, I'm talking to you about use them. Use these interventions. Use it on the panic attack that you're having. Use it when you wake up in the morning and you can't get out of bed. Use it when you're having those terrible thoughts. Use it when you're spiraling down the drain. Use it when you are feeling terrible. Use it when you have a positive thought that comes up and then your whole brain attacks it and shreds it up into itty bitty pieces. Use these interventions for everything. That's really the heart of those trainings, is try it out. See how it works for you. Experiment with it. And what I know is going to happen is that you're going to help your brain move through its natural healing process by using these interventions, and you're going to resolve some symptoms. And I'm getting emails from you that say, I didn't have a panic attack, or I was able to do this, or I'm being more calm with my children. I know that this works. Okay. And I know that you are getting results. So that, and I want you to know that this is the first layer of work, is to, one, get comfortable with the interventions. Try them out a lot. See where it works. See where it doesn't work very much. See if it works when you're trying to go to sleep, if it works with this, if it works with that. Whatever you're trying it on, gather your data too, right? We're just in experimentation mode with those trainings. And then what happens is that you'll start to get some skills, you'll start to get some results, and then you're like, what else can I try this on? And I hope that you're there. And then the answer to that is everything. Go. Use this. And I encourage people to use an intervention, one of the interventions, an intervention that works. These interventions all work specifically and targetedly with your brain's survival system. And that is the part of the brain that is blocking your brain's healing process, right? If you imagine there's a healing assembly line, right? And you put stuff on the assembly line and it comes all the way through your brain, and your brain chops it up in little bitty pieces and then examines it and looks at it. And by the time it gets done, then it's like puts it back together in a very healthy, functioning way, or says, I don't need this anymore, and gets rid of it. Right? That's what we want your brain to do with these things. That's how we get rid of symptoms. Okay. Now, but this assembly line, imagine you've got some dude or some gal. I heard my child say some Karen. They're having a good time with that right now. Standing in front of the assembly line and won't let you put anything on it. That's your survival system. And so these interventions really help influence the survival system to come back a little bit, and let's just get a little bit through. And these interventions take anywhere from 30 seconds to 2 minutes. And so when we're doing that, we're holding the survival system back for a minute, for 30 seconds, 2 minutes. And because the brain is electrical, it's getting a lot of work done. The door is open, and then you're done with the intervention, the door closes and healing stops. But over here on the assembly line, everybody's at work, right? And this is creating permanent change. And that's why I encourage you to do this. Use interventions all day long, or at least 2 hours. And if you've got anxiety, depression, or trauma disorder, it's a lot. You got a lot of stuff to do. If we're saying, hey, every time you have a symptom, go ahead and use an intervention, that's a lot of interventioning. When you're dissociating, when you're being triggered, when you have thought, work with me here, right? It might be, oh, that's a lot of work. And let's get on the other side of this. Okay, so that's the first phase. And there you're going to do a lot of work. And you're going to, there's this work over here that you're going to scoop up with a spoon, and you're going to move to the other side. You're going to scoop up with a spoon and go, and you're going to take this spoon, scoop it up, and put this on the conveyor belt for your brain's healing process. And you're going to keep going. If you work with symptoms, that's the process. You're going to go scoop the symptom up, put it on the conveyor belt. Your brain's going to do things with it. Now, if you stay at this level of work, I don't think you're going to move your anxiety disorder into remission. I don't see that happening from that perspective. Could happen. I'm not saying it won't happen. Maybe I am saying that. But I'm saying that if you stay at working with this at the symptom level, like, and let me give you an example. I wake up in the morning, let's just say, and my heart starts pounding, and I start using emotional freedom techniques with my heart pounding. Okay. And now, after a couple rounds of tapping, my heart's not racing anymore, pounding, right? And my thoughts are slowing because the pounding was distracting me and I didn't realize my thoughts were also racing, but they're not anymore because I'm now feeling pretty calm. Okay. And then let's say you get up and your stomach sinks and you have this flash of, I forgot something. And you say, wait, hold up, we're freaking out. And you do another collarbone tapping, 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 right? Now, here, you're going to feel better. And then you're going to keep moving and you're going to meet the next one. And you're going to keep moving. You're going to meet the next one and the next one and the next one. If you stay doing that, you're going to do a lot of work and you're not going to get permanent results. Okay. And so the one thing I want to tell you at this point where you are using the interventions and you're starting to build some skills with that and you're starting to see results because this actually works and oh my gosh. Okay. The next step that you'll want to do is you'll want to build strategies and skills to find the root of the symptom that you're encountering. Okay, that's a whole nother skill set. And I didn't put this on you right then. Okay. I'm like, go play with some interventions and see your brain work differently because I want you to get excited about, oh my gosh, what can this do? And look at this. Okay. But the truth is, we don't want to just be cutting off the tops of these symptoms. We want to get down to the roots and we want to pull that out because that is where symptoms are fully resolved. Okay. And so that's really where I want you to shift your attention next. And there's many, many strategies for this. And you'll need various strategies. Okay. Because what happens here is that, okay, so each symptom, right, is like the flower at the top. And you want to get down to the bottom. If you've done any gardening, you know that you get to the bottom right here and you kind of grab the root and you can some of these things are tricky. So you kind of got to pull them around a little bit this way and this way. And then you got to like get your little tool all the way down there to the bottom because you don't want to mess this up until the root's there. I'm thinking of there's these little weeds in my yard that are just triumphing over me. Okay. And anyway, you want to get down there and then pull it up by the root and grab the whole thing out, right? And so when you're doing this, right, the symptoms are the flower at the top, and we want to get back there. And so we want to start building the skill of getting back there. I am not going to talk about this skill in super detail because I can't today. This is something that I start teaching clients to do in the second week of my program, Inner World Transformation, and in the second part of my program. And there are very specific skills here that you need to develop the first one first, and then you can come to this point and you'll be ready for the next. So if I were to tell you, I don't know if you'd even gather me because you kind of got to get used to your inner world a little bit, do a couple laps. That's what I found in teaching lots of people how to do this work and to do this work for themselves and to do this work with them until they build their skill up enough that they can do it for themselves and then come back and tell me, I found this root, I found that root, I found this root, and I just cheer and celebrate. To get there, you really have to do the first steps. And the deal with finding the root is we're really surfing neural pathways, right? And this is not something I know how to describe to you in a video. But I do train people on this, but it takes 2, 3, 3 weeks of my program are on this specific skill. Okay? And so that's and it takes that long to do the work to get to the next level, the next skill. But the deal is that you really want to get to the bottom of this. And sometimes you can follow the body, right? You can follow the body And once you find the symptom in your body, because every symptom has a sensation in your body associated with it, you'll slow down and look, play around, use your interventions. But pretty soon, as you clear out some of these things, which is why I have you do this too, I have you just go do it everywhere, because pretty soon the smoke's going to clear and you're going to have cleared it using the interventions. And then you're going to start seeing a couple of things. Instead of everything roiling really fast, things are going to slow down, and you're going to start looking at very specific things. And maybe what's on your awareness, it's maybe every time this happens with your kids, you start yelling, right? I'm doing kid example today. We want to look right in that moment, right before you start yelling, which is a survival strategy and lets us know that a lot of things about your brain function. But right there, right before you start yelling, what's going on in that moment? And if you can slow down in that moment, which I teach you to do, and you can learn how to do, you're going to find distress in your body. You're going to find it. And if you can find that, then this one sensation in your body can help you go to the root or start working on the root issue right then in the moment. Okay. Another area you can look in is that in that moment, right in that freeze, right before you started yelling, screaming, throwing a whole fit, um, a belief came up. And when you get good at finding the belief in there, you can grab that belief. That's a root. Beliefs are roots, root issues. And that's actually, okay, I don't have, I wanted to go off on that, but I think I'm just going to say beliefs are roots. And so if you can get in there and find that belief, now you're at a root. And then if you can find that belief right in there, and then you can find the origin of that belief, and you can yank out the entire plant. Boom, the entire weed. And when you take out that weed, you're eliminating 6, 7, 8 symptoms at the root. Now you multiply 6 symptoms at the root times, maybe you have each of these symptoms once a day, times 365. I don't know. That's a lot of symptoms you're not experiencing anymore. Taking this out by the root is massive. It's instead of taking the little scooper and moving it over, which don't hate on the spoon, okay? Because that stuff feels awesome and it's an important skill to have. But finding the root issue is taking your scooper and scooping these issues up and moving them through your brain's natural healing process. Because you're going to find that root and you're going to use the interventions with it to help your brain move it and get it on the conveyor belt for healing and resolving and updating. Okay. And so this is really, really important. And I'm going to tell you right now, sneak peek, this is not the end of healing and moving your anxiety disorder into remission. Okay. This is a very, very powerful place. And this is where a lot of wounds get healed. This is where you stop bleeding out emotionally. This is good. And according to my process, this happens in about the 4th week, right? I mean, it's we're solving, we're healing along the way. So you're losing less and less emotional blood along the way, right? But by the time you're at week 4, you're doing pretty good. Okay. And so what happens next? So this one, we're going in and we're healing. Then what's going to happen? The next phase is going to be, we're going to be coming up and we're going to be weaving all of that stuff into health and wellness. That's authentic to you and that's sustainable and that's coming from within. Okay. We're going to go in there. We're going to clean. We're going to heal. We're going to organize. We're going to understand. We're going to learn. And then we're going to take all of that and we're going to build up with it into health and wellness and authenticity and peace and all sorts of things, whatever you need. I don't because this one is very specific to specific people. Some people need to be more firm on their boundaries. Some people need to be more flexible um, in their thinking process. Some people need to be more rigid. Some people need to be turning their joy on, right? We need to have a focus of joy. Some people need to have a focus of communication. Some people need to have a focus of whatever happens there. Okay, trust, self-trust. Whatever during that phase, that's where we take all this stuff that was wounded and dysfunctioning, and we're healing, 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 then going up and creating the inner health and wellness so that it's coming out into your life and that you're experiencing it from the inside out. Okay, so this finding the root issues is a very, very important piece to making symptoms stop for good. If you don't do that, I've not seen that work. And this is a skill that you can learn and you can become very good at it and you can do it over and over and over again. This is the skill that will eradicate symptoms and clean your life up of symptoms. Okay? And this is something you can just let therapists learn and know and do, but you're going to have to keep going back and you're going to have to keep going back. And let me tell you, if you've got 15, 20 roots, that's if you've got a good therapist that can really sort through this stuff and find roots quickly, then that's 20 sessions. Maybe, I don't know. And that's over a very long amount of time, but many people have more. So it's so much better if you can do this for yourself, because when you have a moment here, you have a moment there, or before you go to bed, you might this is what happens to me. I will have a something happening, like a symptom coming up, and I've been tapping on it here and there, because brains will always need support, and you'll know they need support by having a symptom coming up. And so I can't remember, I'd love an example, but this is what generally happens to me. I will have something come up and then I'll do some tapping on it and it goes and then it'll come up and I'll do some tapping. And then I'm having a moment and I'm like, that's it. What's up? This symptom, what's going on here? I will find the root of it and I will do the work there and we're done. We're moving on. And for you to be able to do that for yourself is powerful. And not only that, when you learn this strategy, this is something that you can teach your children. This is something you can teach your children's children. This is something that really can spread. And when we're people that can really take care of our emotional and mental wellness, yes. Yes. So, yes. So this tool really is about, this is the piece where we're bringing the healing in, and then from there we're going to bring the wellness out. So and this one piece is what helps us stop chasing symptoms, right? It's very easy to start playing whack-a-mole, and really it's just one phase of this process. You don't want to stay there too long. Once you're in that process, it's time to go to the next one. Okay, so having said that, putting all this stuff together, when you use these strategies the way I'm outlining and the way that I guide you to use in my program, then you should notice the elimination and resolution of your anxiety, depression, and trauma disorder in 2 to 6 months. This is something that happens quickly if you put your elbow grease in. Right now, let me tell you, if you're somebody that's like, I just want to take a slower pace, because we are all have a different pace, and you want to take a year, who cares? Take a year. That's better than 30 years. Okay. And so these are the options available to us. And when we help our brain in this way, things happen very quickly. I cannot say that enough. I just had a session with a client that we started working in November, and we were meeting weekly for a while. This is in my therapy practice, maybe 2, 3 months working weekly. And then it was like, okay, we'll see you every other week. And then once a month. And then I was just doing my usual shakedown. And it's like, I'm not finding any debilitating symptoms, and your symptoms are no longer compromising your relationships. I'm looking through everything. They're not compromising him anymore. And so I was like, you're going to experience post-traumatic stress, because there's stuff will always come up from our past. Do you know that Our lives, our brain is really making so many of our current life um, thoughts and images and direction and plans from our past, right? So that's why we want to clean that stuff up, because if you bring something up from the past and it's got shame on it, you're going to paint shame with your life right here. And then you're going to feel it. And then you're like, why am I ashamed? Well, let's go find the root of it. Let's go find the root of this shame. And not only will we pull it out from here, but we'll pull it out from many other places. It'll be great. Right? So, but this is what you can expect when you use these strategies like I'm laying out. And if you would like my help with that, I have an 8-week intensive program where I will walk you through every bit of this. And to learn more about that, you can go to my website, and which I've added up in the links. And I also have made the framework of my 8-week intensive and the work that I do with my therapy clients. I've made that framework available as an online self-study program. And so it's something that you can grab and you can really use and work with your symptoms and learn to use these strategies. This is a working program. This is not a theory program. This is for people who want to do the work and they want the skills, right? That's what I'm training you with in this. And so if that's something you're interested, you can find that also on my website. And there's a tab in there, picture. It says get rid of your symptoms. And you can click on that to learn more. And then you'll see the options of the 8-week intensive. You'll see the online self-study program, and those are available to you. And there's so many other ways to do this. Find your way and do it. This does not have to take a long time. You can get very skilled. Most of my clients can run circles around people that they shouldn't be able to run circles around. And not just because they have the desire to learn and they learned it. This doesn't have to, and I don't want it to stay just with therapists, okay? I want you to take this. I want you to be well. I want you to make your life well. I want you to pull out those past memories that you've resolved and worked through that are no longer covered in shame. What your brain does when it pulls the shame off, and it loads the shame up on the conveyor belt, and the shame goes through, and your brain converts this shame into other things. I don't even know what it converts it into. I'll have to think about that. I'll have to examine and explore that. But if you figure that out, you let me know. But it converts this into some usable energy and different structures, right? Um, Acceptance. I think that's what it converts it to. Anyway, we'll see. But once so it's stripping off all of the shame, it's putting it on the conveyor belt. But then what the brain does is it really takes this new thing. It's a rod of some sort, um, and it's a past memory, and it really will weave this thing into something that is functional for you and something that shows you your value. Something that proves your value, proves your worth, proves your worthiness. And then it takes it back and it shoves it back in there. And then it's running a program. So when it comes up again, you're going to be painting in your life value and worthiness and worth. That's how it's done. And then it puts it back there when it's no longer using it, right? Brains make associations and they're pulling from the back and painting, and I'm certain that's how it happens. But you get my point. There's so much value in resolving these symptoms at the root. Many of these roots are in events in your past. Many of them are, but not all of them are. And so learn the skills to navigate this and to do this, okay? And when I teach you how to do it, is do it layer by layer. Let's find the ones in the past, let's just say. Let's find the ones in your body. Let me show you how to do that. Let's find the ones, let's do that in your neurological conditioning. Let's do that, and you can do this in layers and do this in a very organized and strategic way. So that's what I wanted to share with you. And yeah, go deeper, find those roots, and really spend the next bits of your time doing that work. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions, so I'm going to go ahead and jump off. Thanks for hanging with me, and I will see you soon. Take care.